welcome to the AV App Show. This is episode 10. We have made 10 episodes now. It's very important, very fancy. Thanks for staying with us. We had a break in the summer. You know, we're like Congress. We got to take it off and chill. We work hard, and we were making babies, and that happens. Not
Making baby.
making babies. Not again, not together, but you know, separately. Anyways, that got weird. Um, Welcome back to AV Nation's first and only and best app show. We are here to cover all the latest and greatest apps that you should use in your day-to-day job as an AV professional, which is why I'm here, as always, with my best friend, Phil Hi-Fi Cordell. You know him as the AV professional. Say hello, my friend.
Hey, AV Nation, good to see you. You guys are looking great this episode. Really impressed.
Yeah, it's a great audience,
Mhm.
you know. Let's kick this off, but before we do, I'm going to shout out to my good friend, Chuck. It's Chuck. What's up, Chuck? We're hanging out. We're on shirts together. It's kind of a deal. Anyways, sorry, I digress. What do you say we hop into an app? What do you have for us this week?
All right, man. This week we're going to be looking at an app called the VideoWall C. ... As you can see from my iPhone 6 Plus screen there. Actually, it's called the VideoWallConfigurator. It's a pretty simple app, dude. We're in the AV biz, so you know, I figure let's look at it. Let's give it a peep-see. But I can tell you right off the bat, well, there's a light version and then there's a pay version. This happens to be the pay version. It was $3.99. And we'll use it here for a moment, and then we'll determine whether or not we feel that it merits that $3.99 price tag.
Do you have the light version as well? Can we kind of do a side by side?
I do. So we'll jump into the fully first, and then we'll see what we would have gotten for free. How's that?
Deal. I like it.
All right. So the idea behind this app is that it will give you the dimensions of your video wall. That is all. As you can see here, there's a few manufacturers. I recently installed an NEC video wall using X554UNs. It happened to have been 2 rows by 4 displays, or by 4 columns rather, for a total of 8 displays. And so you can see there, you just set it up, and then you hit this show button. Bam! That's what my video wall would look like size-wise. 4,861 millimeters by 1,372 millimeters. Now, I'll go ahead and tell you my issue with this. You may see it coming from a mile away. It's in metric. It's in metric, Matt.
Well, maybe it was designed strictly for Canadians, because we're a metric country.
Or I know you are. Maybe it was designed for the rest of the world. Literally everybody else is on metric. I realize this. So anyway, this is what it looks like with the items there in landscape mode. Your displays in landscape. Portrait mode, boom. Now this photo, kind of difficult to see, but that is in fact 4 wide, 2 rows there, and you get slightly more square. You can't really make out the bezels as well on that image.
No. I see it. I see it though.
Mm-hmm. Now, let's say you want to add on the fly here another row. Bam, 3 rows up to 2,058 millimeters. Boom, now it's a 4 by 4. And the dimensions change. That's kind of handy. You know, that's handy. But, yeah, but it doesn't give me any other information about the walls. This basically just gives me, in millimeters, the dimension of my full video wall. So we'll let's take a walk here into the options.
And what I'm hearing is that there's no ability to change that millimeter.
No, there's not.
Gosh.
And I paid for this app, Matt.
$3.99 no less.
Not free 99, my friend. $3.99. So, you know, you can check for new screens, which is all right. You know, bam, database finds 6 new screens and added to my database there. So thanks for that. Let's see what else here. Add my own device. That's pretty handy. I could, you know, if I've got an off-brand or if I'm using a consumer grade in a pro video wall configuration, I could enter that information here. But I
That
guess my question to
happen.
you, I'm sorry?
That doesn't happen.
Right, right. It
Consumer in a
shouldn't, but
commercial
it
setting?
does.
No.
Um, but what's keeping me from just taking, let's say, a calculator? If I'm going to go ahead and enter this information here, if I'm entering the hi-fi TV, skip a product code, and again there it tells me it's in millimeters only. If I'm entering all this information on my own and then adding it to the database, why I guess I'm at a loss here as to why I need this. So granted, we typically bring you apps that I know that I'm pretty excited about, but this time I was just looking for something video wall related, because I've been doing quite a few video walls, and this is what I found. And I'm just not that thrilled about it. Typically we find really cool apps, we rate them pretty highly.
Hmm.
This app, I gotta say, a little disappointed. I'll say the only bonus, I can enter my own images, which is kind of neat. Let's say I don't have any sweet job site images. Hang on, let me reset those to default. Oh, they're adorable. Yes, they're adorable. Those
That's
are.
now. I will say this. What about if you were using this app while you're chatting with a client real quick? And I realized that typically in a proposal situation, you would have already gone through this, but what if you were just kind of talking off the cuff and be like, oh yeah, we could do a really awesome video wall at 5 wide by 3 high. This is kind of what it would look like with a picture of a dog.
Or
That
two.
or two dogs, a beagle and a I don't is that another beagle? I can't
Oh,
tell.
uh,
The
I'm not
color.
sure.
No,
I see
anyway.
where you're going with that, and you're right. That's something. It's just if I'm already in front of the customer, I typically will have a mock-up of my
I would
video wall.
I would
You
agree.
know?
I would agree. Now, can we just for kicks and all things giggly, could we look at the free version?
Absolutely, we can. So this is the full flavored, complete version. Let's take a walk over here to light. You will notice, shoom. Let's see. One of the big things is when I would go to check for new screens. Oh, actually, I've already added the new screens here. You'll notice the ad, the banner ad at the bottom. That's not a deal breaker for me if it's the difference in $4 or nothing. However, if I wanted to add my own device, it's not available in Lite, so I couldn't add that generic TV or any new TV. If I wanted to change the images, can't do that either. Stuck with the adorable, mind you, puppy dogs.
Well,
But see, so that's. Mhm.
if the only difference is the fact that you have puppy dogs, which could be a plus, uh, and the ability to add your own screen, and I'm assuming looking at that real quickly that most of those seem to be pretty standard models, stuff we normally spec on a day-to-day basis for video walls. That unless you're using something that's not in their database, I don't. Yeah, I'm with you. I kind of would save my 399.
I would as well, and I'm sure somewhere somebody thought, hey man, here's a tool that does one thing. It's the only one doing it on the market, and it will tell people in millimeters. I'm sorry if you can hear the disappointment in my voice there.
I
Um,
I can detect
yeah,
disappointment.
it's palpable. Because for me, then I have to throw down with my conversion charts to convert my 72, 92 millimeters into something that folks here in the States would more easily understand.
Yeah, and I guess that's my question to you is like here, I myself, I understand inches much better than I do centimeters and millimeters, even though I was technically raised on millimeters and metric.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, when we're doing most calculations, like I don't own a tape measure that's in millimeters or centimeters. Everything I have is straight up inches. Um, but again, being a Canadian country, when I get a spec chart from anybody, it's always in centimeters and millimeters, and then in brackets you get your inches and whatnot. Um, Is that something that in your commercial market you ever see millimeters, or is everything coming in?
It's yeah, it's pretty rare. Obviously millimeter, I do understand in this regard. Millimeter is kind of the set bezel width of choice, for measuring bezels on panels such as these. However, when you get to discussing the panel size itself, it's typically you're talking about a 47 or a 55-inch panel. You're talking about the diagonal.
Yes.
I mean, that's just standard. So to me, again, my disappointment stems from the fact that there's nothing that this can do that I can't easily do with a calculator and 30 spare seconds,
What if
That's
you
all.
what if you didn't have the 30 spare seconds? Come on, you're about to be a dad. You won't have 30 seconds.
I've heard that. And I hate being so down on this because I'm sure that somebody in our industry put some work into this, and I mean I like that it's very easily. You got your different field choosers, bada bing, bada boom. But if you compare this to some of the apps that we've already reviewed, the AV Buddy app, AV Aid, some of those apps that incorporate, lots of tools.
Mhm.
To me, this one in particular just unfortunately, falls a little short. Now, it doesn't necessarily claim to do anything that it doesn't do either, but
That that's a plus. Is at least it's not trying to oversell what it can do. But I'm with you, man. It's yeah, let's be honest. It's a fairly generic looking app. It doesn't really do that much, and not to downplay the rest of the world, but the US is kind of a pretty big market and a pretty big install, like Apple, iOS install base, to overlook the fact that they don't use millimeters that
yeah,
often. you know
yeah.
I guess that would be my biggest complaint, and I wouldn't spend 3.99 on it. I gotta say, no go. I keep my data.
You
Data,
think
data.
I you think I got bamboozled?
Yeah.
Well, you know what? We do it for the AV Nation so that
We
other
do.
people don't have to, unless they
Exactly.
want to. This app may fall perfectly into someone's wheelhouse, and they may say, "Hey, that's exactly what I've been looking for."
Yep.
However, when perhaps we go ahead and start rating this thing, what you think?
I think we should. Let's rate it in, I don't know, video walls?
NVIDIA walls, entire walls, entire
Yeah, not
system.
just panels.
Uh-uh.
Entire walls.
Uh-huh.
What do you think, my friend? Well, actually, why don't I start off the rating on this one?
Okay.
Um, you know what? I got to give this like a 2 because it does. Here's the thing. It does do what it says it does, and it does it, I guess, fairly well. All things considered, I think the usability factor is what kills it. Because as I said, I'm in a metric country and I still measure things in inches. So even for me, I'm, double tapping my home button to pull up my converter app to find out what the heck 400 or 4,000 millimeters is in
Mhm.
inches. So I can tell the client. And I think that's one of the other things, especially in North America. Most of the people I'm dealing with they're 30 plus, 40 plus. They grew up on inches as well. They did
Mhm.
not learn millimeters because it didn't come out in time for them in school. So most of my clients, at least, they're still all inch people. So I'm still converting that anyways. So I guess, yeah, I'm giving it a 2.
True that. And that was I will give it I will give it 2.25 video walls. So let's say that thing is yeah, that's what I'm gonna go with. 2.25 video walls. So somebody that third person's gonna be really bummed when they see they only got 1/4 of a video wall
Well,
installed.
it'd be like a bunch of people getting a 2 by 5 or a 3 by 5, and then some little guy who got 3 panels.
Mhm.
It's
Mhm.
still it's still a a video wall, but it's just a little bitty one.
Yeah, just a little something something.
Yeah, a little something something. Little something something. All
So
right.
there you have it. That's all I got, man.
All right. Now is this just an iOS app?
I'm not. I can't even speak to that. Perhaps it's available on Android, but as we've discussed, we typically stay in the iOS ecosystem.
We are iOS people. Don't make fun of us. It is what it is. It's
Mhm.
what we like. It's what we know. And yeah, we also haven't found a good way to screen share our Android devices over. So there's that too. All right, I say we wrap it up. We've covered it. We've rated it two and well, really, do we need to? Yeah, let's say our cumulative rating is like 2 and an eighth.
Hmm.
That sounds about right, right? Yeah,
That's
right in the
it.
middle. So yeah, we're giving Video Wall Configurator on iOS 2 and an eighth. You can obviously get it in the App Store, but we recommend not purchasing it. Just get the light version. It'll do you just fine. Yeah, so that's pretty much all we have for this episode of the AV App Show. I'm one of your hosts, your co-host, if you will, Matt D. Scott. You can find me on the Twitterverse at Matt D. Scott, or obviously on avnation.tv. And Philip, why don't you tell them where they can find you?
That's right. You can find me on Twitter at the_AV_pro. Find me on my website at theavprofessional.com.
Beautiful. I love it. Thanks so much for joining me again, my friend. It was a blast as always. And yeah, we're going to be reviewing some more stuff next week. Well, next 2 weeks, because we're kind of switching up our schedules a little bit. If you've got something that you'd like us to review, or something you'd like us to touch on that we've reviewed in the past, maybe had an update, something like that, please let us know. Hit us up on Twitter or from the website. And always feel free and please stop by avnation.tv for info on this show and many of the other great shows that we have available for you. This is Matt signing off from the AV App Show, giving you all the latest apps on all the greatest apps. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.